Well, hello and welcome to my fellow Idahoans. Now listen up. I've got a great show for you today. We are broadcasting, my fellow Idahoans, on Treasure Valley Community Television in Boise, Idaho. Treasure Valley Community Television can be watched on the Cable 1 system, channel 11, or it's broadcast worldwide, streamed on the internet, the website tvctvonline.org. TVCTV stands for Treasure Valley Community Television. So tvctvonline.org. Today I'm very fortunate to have a young man as my guest. Very, very fortunate to have Lee Arthur Rice, Lee Rice II. Lee, welcome to the show.
Thanks. I appreciate the invite. It's an opportunity, so thank you very much.
Lee, please tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're educated, live, work, etc.
Sure. Well, I guess I could say I'm like third generation. Born and raised here in Boise, Idaho. Family history. Family's one of the first, I guess you could say, Negroes / African Americans / Black that lived in the area that moved from the South, Pocatello, to Boise. So went to school at Boise High School, graduated in '71, worked for Boise Cascade for years, joined the Navy, went and lived overseas in Japan and Australia, decided to come back here and my parents passed in '99. That's what brought me actually back to the States. So then I decided to just stay on and from there.
Well, so the reason you're on the show, one of the reasons, is because you're very articulate, and the other reason is because you have had a run-in with the law, as it were. And your story is rather unique, and we felt it would be quite interesting to the general public here in Idaho, well, across the country, about what happened to you. So tell us about your arrest.
Well, gosh, it was a day after Christmas. Actually, it's the 26th of December, 2011. We were traveling after spending all day with family from in Boise, Idaho. We were traveling back to Nampa. And from that point on, we were followed by a car, and I thought, who's this crazy person following with the lights on bright? And so we decided to move out of their way. It turns out this car followed us and actually was speeding up. So now we're really concerned because, I'm traveling. I've got my wife, the kids are with us, and we were just traveling home. So we decided to change lanes again. Well, we moved back into the right lane, and the vehicle does the same. Once the vehicle got behind us again, the lights come on, and then that's when we realized that it was the cops. So I don't know how else to put it. We didn't know. Anyway, so it turns out that it was a state police officer. So we pull over, we do all the right things, we get all of our documents ready to produce that they want to ask you for. My wife was a little upset, and actually I was too. I mean, gosh, here we are, there's nobody else on the road, and we have this car whom we thought was just some crazy idiot following us. Well, the officer approaches this, and rather than take the information that we were prepared to give her, we're asking questions because we're entitled to ask questions. We need to know why we were pulled over, because it wasn't an unlawful stop as far as we were concerned. And so we're asking questions. The officer proceeded to get a little on the aggro side, walks away from the car, goes back to the car. She actually comes back to address the issue again, and by this time we noticed there's other vehicles, other cop cars showing up. There's a whole situation. It just really got out of hand. And when she came over to talk to me, I'm still asking to speak to her, wanting to know why would she pull us over. She states that it was for an illegal lane change. Now, of course, that's we're saying this is totally ridiculous. And it's upsetting the family and everything else. So we continue asking her questions. She wanted to see my ID, my driver's license, which I did show her. I've had run-ins with the law enforcement before, so I know not to lower my window other than just enough to speak to them, having been pepper sprayed by Homeland Security before. So that's a whole other story for another time. However, she calls in, she's threatening to break the window, so now I've got to lower the window, so we're really concerned. By the time I've asked her to speak several times to her supervisor, which she's non-responsive regarding that. Well, next thing you know, we're surrounded by police cars and policemen. I'm dragged out of the car. They do their usual beat down, and I get hauled into, I'm handcuffed, hauled down to the Ada County Jail, and because I didn't want to consent to their processing, I'm assaulted again now at Ada County Jail while handcuffed, mind you. So I pose no threat at any time, but yet still this sort of behavior seems to be, as I'm finding out, the norm for some of these agencies. And here we are.
So, did you make bail?
Well, not straight away. You never are able to get out straight away. If you don't go through their process, they generally hold you overnight, sometimes up to 3 days. Fortunately, I've never had to go that far. But the following day, I did, with all rights reserved, I did actually go through their process. I let them know that I'm not consenting to this, but under threat, duress, and coercion, I have no choice. So, and besides, I can't do much from when you're locked up, so I wanted to go ahead and get through the process. So from that point forward, once you've done that, they take you into the general population, I guess you could call it. Obviously, they take you out of your street clothes and put you in their jail uniforms, and you're taken then to the general population. At about 1:30 the following day in the afternoon, I'm actually taken into court. And that was actually a video arraignment, so it's not like they took me to the courthouse. This was actually done right there in jail. So it's, as I found out later, they can see me, and I don't know who else is there. I do see the judge, but other than that, that's about it. So that process is, I did make bail, though. I did get out. It was later that afternoon, that evening, I guess, I got out. And from that point forward, I started filing paperwork.
Well, all right. So how many court appearances?
Well, if you count the video arraignment, actually it would be 7. So there were 7 court appearances altogether. 7? Yes.
Can you summarize or kind of walk us through your 7 court experiences?
Sure, as best I can. First is the video arraignment. What's set at the video arraignment is what's called a pretrial conference, which I refer to as the administrative process. So the pretrial conference is to even determine whether or not they have enough evidence to even proceed. Ideally, that's where everything should be settled versus moving forward. However, when they really want you, it doesn't matter. So there was a pretrial conference. I actually went through 3 pretrial conferences, which I'm told is unusual. But in the initial stages, you're given a public defender. And so from that point forward, if you're public, in my case, in my particular situation, I like to know that the public defender is going to work with me as co-counsel. They tend to say that you have to be represented by an attorney, which is really a misnomer because we are entitled to, you're entitled to defend yourself. So, and you have First Amendment, I believe, is you have the right to assistance of counsel. I think that's the words that's used in the Constitution. So. In the Bill of Rights. So therefore, those are the words I prefer. And so we proceeded from there. Generally, I allow the public defender to do they'll go through and get all of the discovery that's needed. I generally will look and view the discovery with them. If I believe that there's more discovery and the public defender doesn't want to go after that, then I have no other choice but to say, you're fired. And I pull a Donald Trump on them and just handle it myself from there, which in my particular case, that's what I did.
Okay, so that was appearance number 2 or 3.
Yeah, well, actually, yeah, that was.
So what else happened?
Well, there's a lot of paperwork flying back and forth between the prosecutors and, of course, my filing motions, objecting. I ended up filing motions to have the case dismissed, which got denied. They, of course, I'm also asking for other discovery, which the whole point, the case cannot move forward actually from pretrial until you have all your discovery, because you are entitled to know why you were brought into court. You're entitled to have all the evidence that they allegedly have against you. And that's pretty much how I stayed within the pretrial context with regards to that. So there were several appearances. When I say 7 court appearances, is based upon the fact that we never got out of the pretrial aspect, except for the one appearance where it was a motion to suppress that I filed because it was an unlawful stop. So I filed into the court a motion to suppress, which was upheld by the court against the prosecutor's objections.
So these various motions, are they split among the various appearances in front of the judge?
I tend to. I tend to put in, well, first and foremost, the motion to dismiss, because I believe it should have never happened in the first place. So you're asking.
I mean, I'm trying to get to this 7 court appearances. Why so many? I mean, so you filed several motions.
Yes, there are several motions filed.
Yeah. Is it one court appearance per motion?
Well, the court actually sets the trial date, so it's not really per motion.
Okay.
I mean, the motions actually come about as you file the motions. And again, this is all new to me, so I'm sort of stumbling here a bit. And it's been an educational process for me as well. I guess the bottom line is that I understand what my rights are, and having to understand that, then I just try to file what, as I understand, the necessary paperwork into the courts to basically to plead my case. And you basically do it on paper first. So I try to get as much as I can into the court on paper first before we go any further.